Good morning. Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. I don't want you to fall in the sink. I bought veal neck bones. I bought 2 packages of them and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 8 pieces. And what I did was I rinsed them and patted them dry and I put some buttermilk on them. And what I'm doing this time is I am using lamb seasoning. Instead of a different one, I'm going to use lamb seasonings on these. And that's what I'm up to at this point. Toss it. And we will be flouring these probably twice. Let them sit before we get around to cooking them. Now what's beautiful about the bones is you have the bone marrow there and there's gristle. And if we cook these right, you should be able to actually eat the gristle right off the bones. And then that is good for your joints and for your teeth and backaches and anything where bones are involved where your joints hurt. Because remember, your teeth are bones as well. A lot of people look at it as separate, but what your bones are made up are your teeth. And if your teeth are weak, you can imagine what your bones are. In between those bones, you have gristle, which are a lot of minerals and stuff, supporting the system. But when that gristle, as you pound it and pound it and pound it and you don't eat well, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner till finally it's bone on bone. It could be in your hands, it could be in your shoulders, it could be in your spine, it could be in your knees, your ankles, your hips. Most of the time people will complain from their lower back or their hips, and that's where they feel it the most. But that's what happens. Alcohol, drugs and stuff break this tissue down. Also hard work, poor diet. Well, basically if you do hard work and you eat well, you wouldn't have that problem. So you know that it's poor diet. In one way or another, you're not getting what you need. So let me get my rack and get some flour, and we will sit these and let these air a bit. We'll flour them once, let the moisture hold on to the seasonings, and then we'll add a second coat. I need that to keep it a bit. Now I have particles in here and I want to clear them out so I can just get the flour and seasonings. And remember, I'm always adding seasonings to the flour as I do this. But here are the particles I talk about. I talk about it, but I don't show you. These are them. You see, from cooking. Now, because I'm going to be cooking it, and I think farro I'm going to use with this. I'm still thinking of putting it together. When I went into the freezer yesterday and I said, what do I want today? I couldn't think of what I wanted to save my life. So I looked at it for like 30 minutes, went upstairs, did some work, came back down, and then I finally made up my mind what I wanted. I couldn't make up my mind. I'm not one of those people who sets out a menu for the whole week and this is exactly what we're going to eat. I can't do that because I'll change it as soon as I start doing it. Then I'll go to the store and see something and I'll end up picking it up and change the whole thing around. So I buy a lot of vegetables, a lot of seasonings, a lot of fruit, and whatever meat I pick up, and then I combine everything together, which my home economic teacher would tell me I'm doing it all wrong, but it works for me. So as you can see, I really laid it on. And I'm going to put flour on them and let them sit a bit. And then we'll reflour them again before we even start. But I just thought this would be so good. It's just so different though. They say this seasoning mixture is just for lamb. I said, I'm going to put it with the veal. It's got a beautiful mint flavor to it and smell. I just think that this will be with other seasonings. We will have no problem. And I'm going to be adding some seasonings into it as I cook it. And because the bones are cut, there is bone marrow in there. We'll get some folic acid at the same time with everything else. Well, we're back into winter again. We had some warm spells and back into winter we went. Just drop right back in. Okay, I am going to let these sit a bit, and then I'll be back to put them a second time, and then I'll start to cook them. So I'll give you a break for me, and I have a few things I have to do anyway, because it's morning. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I'm going to drench them a second time. Now you don't have to use buttermilk. I'm using buttermilk because I killed my culture on my yogurt. I have to start it in the spring, but I have to wait. So I'm using that more than I use yogurt. Yogurts have enzymes that help break things down. You use it, buttermilk, in liver. It starts to break down some of the rawness that most people don't like about liver. Yogurt does it as well. So buttermilk and yogurt are very good in that aspect. This I will save when I need it to dust meat again. We're going to use kamut today, which is a traditional grain of Egypt. It's a whole grain. You can get it from the Bob's Red Mill at a health food store, or if you have a health food aisle in your store, you'll find it. You can see the grains are a nice brown color, and they're a little on the large sides. They're not short and dumpy. They're sort of long and thin like this. But we're going to be adding this, and I'm also going to use vegetable stock in this, because I want a lot of flavor in this. We will be adding some vegetables, but I will be serving the graham and cracked wheat bread with this. I think it would go nice together. Just a complete wholesome meal. The lady asked me where I got this pot. My husband came home with this. He found it in a store that was closing out. So I have, I think I can stick them all on this. I have B vitamins in the whole wheat flour, and I also have the kamut. Now I had posted on America's Home Cooking on Facebook, which is another page that I keep. This is my channel, but I have a cooking page on Facebook. I posted a thing that explains that when you grind wheat up into flours, they only last for like 6 months. But if you buy the grains and store them, they can last up to 30 years. So if you're into milling your own, you can go on the internet. I know I can show you this. Veal Stew Farms, organic soybeans that you can grind up and stuff. They have whole grains if you wish to buy from them. I don't know if they do all flours, but I do know they use beans, and there are some beans that you can grind up into flour and actually use. I am going to invest into a mill. I found one I like, but they're currently out of stock, so I have to wait until it comes in. I hope they're going to get it because I really like it. And it needs to be quiet and it's not real loud, so I can actually grind my grains into my mixtures that I want to be easier. That means I'm going to need a larger pantry. As you can see, I'm just going to run myself out of this house with the way I'm going. Now remember, you don't want to burn this because you'll just take all those flours and herbs and seasonings, and you'll just burn them and you won't have the flavor that you're looking for. You're just braising these. You don't have to go crazy and braise them dark, but you do want to braise them. And braise means to brown. And you usually do it in oil. Some people like to do it in butter and oil. So other people just like doing it in butter, but it's sort of a multiple choice that you have. So just letting you know. When I show you, you'll see that I didn't braise them too much. I was very careful because I didn't want to overdo it. Oh, I knew you were going to absorb that oil. See, this is time braising it. I don't want to go too far with it because I want to make sure those seasonings are going to be really nice. So when you do it like that, you're getting some really, you can smell them as they're braising and not smelling it then burning. And that's what you want. Now we have to let this heat up again. My son sent me a lovely video that says, let it rain. And I listened to it when I woke up this morning. I said, thank you. It was such a nice one. Now, when I turn these over and they're brown on that side, I'm going to put these in right away because I do not want to burn these herbs. That's one thing I'm trying not to do. A lot of people will put salt and pepper, flour, and then do it. And I can understand why they do it. It makes sense because they want to. But then they burn those seasonings, and I'll add salt towards the end is when I add my salt. Now I'm going to add seasonings. I add them when it's almost done cooking, so I get the essence of those seasonings, and I don't cook them the whole time where I just cook the seasonings completely out. That I don't want to do. This should not have a lot of fat in this meal because the neck mussels take a lot of weight and stuff, and when you take a look at it, there's not a lot of fat on them, but there is bone and meat, and you can see some fat, so you don't have to worry about a high cholesterol from the meal or anything. Let me bring it over here so you can see it, actually how I'm browning them. I'm not really burning them. I don't know if you can get into that pot. I'm going to get you as close as I can. So we're just waiting right now for it to brown real quick. I'm not worried about the sides so much because the sides are mostly bone. You see? So I'm not bothering with the bone. I'm just getting the top and the bottom done. That's all I want to do. See? You see how I'm browning them? I don't want to brown them a lot because I'll burn all these seasonings. I keep saying that. That's because a lot of people do and don't think about it. going to be adding 1/3 of a cup of kamut, the whole grain, because these take hours to cook. So I'll stick it in here and they can all cook together. So clean your grains and strain them. This is also adding minerals to the dish and added protein because it is a whole grain. And we have to add some more liquid to that. Wait a minute, I have some potato anyway. I'll just throw that in as well. There's enough of everything here. Turn it up on high because we're going to bring this to a boil. And I am going to add some peppercorns at this point. I guess about a teaspoon. We'll let that cook with some seasonings, that meat and stock and grains. That should be a very interesting dish. Now, when this comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it down to simmer and just let it cook for hours. Because I want that gristle to get really, really tender. And I know that takes time. And that's what we're going to be doing. And that's pretty much it for now until I get the vegetables ready. But that will be later. And I'll use whatever vegetables are on hand. I'm not going to tell you a specific vegetable. If you have vegetables in the house, think of their flavor and combine it with the meat. And then the liquid that's in there should be more concentrated. And I'm going to serve bread and butter next to it, like I told you, the graham and cracked wheat bread. So that will cover that area, so I don't have to worry about that either. So I think it's going to turn out, it'll be healthy and nutritious. It'll be nice, but I will see you much later because that's going to have to cook. So there'll be a part 2, so we'll finish up with what we're going to put it in and put it all together. So take care, but just remember, if you're at this point, you're going to bring it to a boil and then turn it down to simmer and just leave the lid on and let it do what it does so naturally. Take care.